Hey, everyone. This was a last-minute stream that I'm hopping on to do. I actually just finished shooting another video, and I got tagged on something on Twitter and saw that actually Kyle Wilson did a video around this. And so this is potentially some big news, and I wanted to cover it and kind of go into it. Let's see if this is fact, fiction. I did a little bit initial research, and I want to kind of go through this with the fam and see, like, is this legit? Is this something that someone found that's a possible slip up? Because my initial look at the website seems kind of odd. So let's kind of take a look at this together and see, is Pokemon the trading card game NFTs potential coming to ImmutableX, and why it would make sense for Ecomi and Veve to really have this partnership with Immutable. So let's get into it. I'll show you what research I've done. Love to kind of get some of your thoughts on it, because I usually don't hop on a stream like this urgently, but when I started digging into it, it looked pretty good. So let's get a little bit into this right off the bat and see kind of what's going on here, because again, if this is real, it's pretty solid. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Hold on one second. Share screen. Okay. So shout out to Mark OMI, or Mark Kuhn, for I'm just going to give you a follow for this, man. Thank you so much for tagging me, Foster, Daniel Lee, a bunch of other people in this, and giving us the link to it. So I actually saw that Kyle posted this video, and I was like, wait, interesting. Okay, let me take a look. And shout out to Kyle Wilson. You know, obviously he's one of the OGs that's been around for a long time, showing the Veve content, and he actually just did this video showing, you know, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh on ImmutableX. But I'm kind of like cautious about this, because we've seen past things with Indy Kyla and a bunch of other creators in the past who would make things that looked, and I'm not saying Kyle did this, but maybe someone created this fake website to show, you know, oh, this is coming, and then it end up not being a real thing. But let's take a look at this website. And again, shout out to Mark for actually sending us this website. And I was digging into it, I was trying to find, okay, is this fake? Is this not real? It seems pretty real, guys. So this is market.uat.x.immutable.com. The first thing I did was, what is different from this website that shows all of these test nets and different things coming on to Immutable's marketplace that includes Pokemon trading card game online and a bunch of other things, and a bunch of familiar names to this site. So what's different about this site from the normal ImmutableX website? Well, it's pretty similar, right? So market.x.immutable.com is the normal marketplace website for ImmutableX. But when we look at this website, it's market.uat.x. The only thing that's entered different in here, and again, I've looked up this website, I've tried to see, is this manufactured some way, and I can't figure it out. The only difference is UAT is in here, so it's tied directly to the Immutable website for the best I can tell. So what is UAT? Well, of course, I did a little bit of research before I hopped in with you guys, but again, this is all of us coming together. Let's see. Yep, Gus just said it. Thanks, Gus, for the user acceptance test. And I looked that up. I was like, what is UAT? With technology underpinning all business processes today, with the pace that with new technologies emerging, companies need to introduce new products and services at a faster rate. The competitors using user acceptance testing software to meet the needs of the end user. So it's testing software, or a testing site even tied to ImmutableX, right? So this looks pretty legit. I mean, if this is manufactured, I don't know how they would really do this. User acceptance testing, otherwise known as user accessibility testing, beta application, or end user testing, is often the last phase in the web development process, the one before final release or installation of the website or software for the client or final distribution of it. So this really stands out. And when we look at this specific website, we can see some familiar faces, right? So we know a bunch of different companies are on ImmutableX, right? Let me blow this up for you guys. I've shown this a million times in my videos, but showing exactly who the partners are on ImmutableX. We know, of course, Ecomi and Tom Bilyeu's render project, Artifact. We have Illuvium, Animoca Brands, Gods Unchained, Guild of Guardians, Wilder Worlds, OpenSea, Block Party. I mean, some really huge names, but we've been seeing that the marketplace only in a couple weeks has been jumping in how much is going into it. Like initially it was just kind of Guild of Guardians, Gods Unchained, and a few others. Then we saw the first generative PFP project with Moody Crows hop in. I actually bought some Guild of Guardians Heroes just to get ready for that dope game that's coming in 2022. Astro Bros, many more are coming, and we have the slot reserved for Veve, but not a lot yet, but it's blowing up very, very quickly, and we're seeing more and more coming into it. So on this site that they shared, we can see some of the familiars, right? So Guild of Guardians, Testing, IMX Doge, Angry Orc Club, a bunch of different projects that we know are actively coming to IMX, and we see a bunch of test things attached to it. But what's interesting is we see like Super Farm. So Super Farm is on ImmutableX. It's something that TapsTrades has been building for quite some time. I think it's going to be a great project. I actually hold an NFT in OpenSea on tied to the Super Farm project. So we can see that it kind of all goes in a pretty straight line from the projects, right? So you can see Super Farm Test 3, 2, 1, Moody Crows, and then there's a little bit of a gap in between, and then Moody Crows picks back up. Now I'm showing this string because look what happens. We see Veve, right? We see a couple other projects. We see Illuvium tied to Alluvials, which are the monsters in Illuvium. So it just kind of all leads in different ways, right? We see Illuvium then is broken up between different things. And then we see Ecomi. Now, Ecomi is broken up just by test dummies, which I don't know if that's a game or what that is. But then we see Yu-Gi-Oh! And we know that in the past, David Yu has other companies that have tied directly to the licensing with Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon X. I actually did an entire video back on August 23rd, where we went into, let me get rid of that. We actually went into that I think that Pokemon NFTs will hit the world of NFTs in trading card form before we actually see the physical Pokemon NFTs in Veve or in NFT world at all. So you go ahead and jump ahead here. I actually went and showed like a couple of the different reasons why I think that ImmutableX is perfect for actually having Pokemon NFTs in the crypto world because of needing that 1155 ability to batch send, and then hitting Veve will be great. But I went into the Pokemon cards and why I really think that this is going to be big, because they are massive and actually already have the license with Vagabond. So Vagabond is the store, or I guess the brand, the store that everything is tied to David Yu. And so the likelihood that he still has the ability or the relationship with them and can tie it back to Veve is pretty high. Even so, where Al Khan, I'm just excited, guys. I'm all over the place right now. But Al Khan, during the interview, actually even said that David Yu still has the Pokemon licensing, but he doesn't. And I think he was referring back to Vagabond. And you look at Vagabond's website, he has the license with the Pokemon cards. So Kyle Wilson went into this and kind of showed a whole lot around, hey, like we can see that the Pokemon licensing, little plug for his fish there. We can see that Pokemon is reflected here in IPEC test and test collection on this UAT test site for ImmutableX. And Yu-Gi-Oh!, which it doesn't say if it's a card game, it doesn't say if it's NFTs direct, but this seems really interesting, right? IMX Toads, I think someone's tried to pitch that to me before, but this really stands out. Like, I didn't want to believe this. I wasn't planning on hopping on here to really stream this to you guys, but I wanted to get more of the fam involved, because if this is real, this is potentially what that big world's first that David referenced in that recent AMA just a couple days ago. And is it the world's first trading card game on NFTs? No. Gods Unchained, I believe, would have been one of the, maybe not the first, but the most successful project. And it came on ImmutableX. It was like their big awakening to the world on how big ImmutableX can be. But a world's first would be the world's first Pokemon NFTs. So this is potential. I don't want to be, this is not confirmed. I don't want to say this is a for sure thing or anything, but I did want to bring this up to the fam because I know everyone's going to be hopping in this kind of, saying, hey, like this is confirmation. But this is not confirmation. However, this looks pretty strong, seeing that it is tied directly to Immutable's website. I don't know how this was leaked, but again, when you look at the differences in the websites, it's very, very close. It's just that UAT, which again stands for user acceptance testing, that stands out. So I'm going to go ahead and post this link here in the chat, and everyone else do your homework. I mean, this seems like a pretty big deal. And if this is the case, I mean, it isn't guaranteed that it's brought to by Veve or Ecomi, right? But looking at the other partners, who do you think it would be, right? Like, Guild of Guardians, no, like they're obviously building out their own metaverse, and it's going to be a great project. Illuvium is building out their own, AAA game studio NFT project, which is going to be absolute killer. Animoca Brands, possibly, right? Like they're a massive, massive name. But when you really think about who could really do this, I mean, Gods Unchained was the most successful card-based game NFT project. So it being on Immutable makes sense, but the only one that really jumped out to me would be Tom Bilyeu, since he's targeting anime and the entire APAC region. But I don't think he's going to be able to get that licensing before Ecomi and Veve, especially again, since Vagabond Games is the one who has that license already. In fact, let's go ahead and jump back over to that website because I want to show Vagabond Games. Vagabond Games and Collectibles, boom. So again, this is David Yu's, one of his many, many companies that he is very successful with. And again, they have the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game license. So it could be a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game as well. They have Star Wars card games. Man, they have so many licenses. But they do have Pokemon as well, playing cards. James Bond 007. What? That sounds like a familiar license. Those are normal card games. Let's pull up the Pokemon side. Boom. So they have, I mean, Pokemon toys and Pokemon card games. I mean, I think this is a really good link to see what is possible, right? Because, man, this seems like a pretty big deal. And I mean, all it takes is, one person to say, hey, I know about this site, or I know someone who's at ImmutableX, and yeah, they'd be breaking some kind of NDA, but it is very possible that this is real. Because I wish there was a way to check and see if this is a completely authentic URL address, because it is so similar in, I mean, everything is the only thing. I'm not connecting my wallet to this just in case it's not real, but everything down to the T. Like there's usually like little things that you can find that are mistakes, that are like broken links. So when you like mimic one site to another, you wouldn't have like the privacy or terms and conditions. Like these would be broken links, or like not even be hyperlinks, right? But when you actually click on them, they go directly to ImmutableX's privacy policy or their terms and conditions. And these were the first things that I looked for to see, like, are these, like, is this actually ImmutableX's website? And it all ties directly to these links. So unless someone spent an absolute ton of time trying to make this a complete mirror of that website, it seems pretty real. And again, this is not confirmation that Veve is bringing Pokemon trading card game online, but we know that Vagabond does have this license, right? They have, and that's, again, for those who are just joining in, David used many companies, and Vagabond does have the trading card game license, as well as Magic the Gathering. I mean, they spoke about mini games, right? Like that will be eventually coming to the Veve platform, and they spoke about something that is going to be a first. So the likelihood that we could see something with Pokemon. I was looking for that screenshot. There it is. There it is. All right, Pokemon trading card game, Sword and Shield evolving. So I believe it's still early to get overly excited. Like I ask anyone who is a developer or has some ability to really like do some further kind of tech digging. Like when I'm doing research, I'm actively reading and looking up all this, but my tech skills are not amazing, right? So this jumped out. Again, shout out to Kyle Wilson for bringing this to our attention, as well as Mark OMI. But the initial research that I've done, this seems legit. Like this seems like a slip up on ImmutableX's side. Again, in order to see this, you just need to go to this link, which is market.uat.x.immutable.com, HTTPS. So it's not HTTP, so I know it's more secure. At least that's the limited, URL knowledge I know. This seems pretty legit. Now, if this is real, what does this mean for Ecomi and Veve? We still need to make the full migration to ImmutableX, right? Like we need to actually make that move over, which they said that we're currently in phase 2, wrapping up moving the NFTs from GoChain to ImmutableX on an Ethereum base. And they did say that there was some lag in that. So it should be happening either the end of this week or sometime soon. I'm assuming that phase 3 is then migrating everyone from their GoChain based OMI to the Ethereum based ImmutableX OMI, which when that happens, I mean, they're really open to start working with OpenSea, ImmutableX Marketplace, having more exchanges. But this could be that massive, world's first that, again, David spoke about on the AMA, which if you weren't able to catch that AMA, I know Cavell actually filmed that. He was in there with all of us. Boom. Where was it? $10 OMI, $10 OMI. Let's see. It's one of these. I know he filmed the AMA, and it's one of these videos that he shot. Guy keeps busy, so there's tons of videos. But in that video, David did say there's going to be a world's first happening on the Veve app. And so, again, NFT trading card games, not a first, right? Pokemon, Nintendo, world's first, yes. So I think this is like I try not to get too excited and say, oh, hey, confirmed or anything like this, but this seems pretty good at first glance. So I'm going to kind of take a look at some of these comments, but what do you guys think? Like, is this possible? If this is, this could see some initial spikes, not only in OMI price, but in the collectibles, right? Because they're like Pokemon coming would be big, and obviously they would shoot up in value, but that would mean that Pokemon is a season 3, or at least the trading cards, right? Or maybe that would then be a new category, right? So we would see digital collectibles, digital comics, digital trading card game. So that would be pretty incredible to see in the app. But what are your guys' thoughts? Like looking at this app, you guys help me out. Like, does this seem legit? I'll post it in here again. Go to the chat and see what you guys think. I see a bunch of people in here. Appreciate you guys hopping here. Hey, shout out to Lori. I appreciate the super chat. Donald Trump says, Doggle Trump says, $50 OMI seems legit now. Hey, that's a great picture. Man, so, I mean, this year, I'm hopeful that we see that 6 to 9 cents. I believe if Pokemon hit this year before the end of the bull cycle, man, I don't even know where the price would go. I don't think $50, a $50 OMI. I mean, why does it need to be $50, right? Like that's that's a crazy price. I don't think $50 OMI is possible for many decades. I think they would sell well before then. Like I think $1 is possible again by like 2025. If Pokemon trading cards hit this year, maybe that timeline could be moved up. I would say maybe 2024. $10, 2035, like 2030. I don't know. Like that's a pretty large number to where everyone who's sitting on what 10,000 OMI, or sorry, 100,000 OMI is basically a millionaire. Yeah, I think that's pretty grand outlook. But let's keep looking at some of these comments. Daniel Lee says $100 OMI, here we come. You heard Daniel Lee. I mean, the guy's smart. He knows what he's talking about, right? This is happening today for sure. Dan Schauble, thanks for hopping on, man. If Veve doesn't have Pokemon, will users split their time between Veve and the Pokemon market? Is part of why people are invested in OMI and Veve because of Pokemon? This is actually a great question, Dan. So if Pokemon did their own thing on ImmutableX, I mean, they would have to build out, they'd have to have been building for a long time, right? And there's been no hints at them doing that. We know Amazon have been building, their own blockchain and things like that in nature. So things usually get out. So if Pokemon was able to secretly do this entire thing, building this entire platform for a long time with ImmutableX, even before Veve and Ecomi, I feel like something would have slipped out before this, right? Before this testing happened. And so I don't think they would really be doing that on their own, especially seeing the success of Marvel, DC, and why build something all natural to themselves when they could just work with licensors, and one of their top people that they've been working with for a long time. Like they've been working with David for decades, or over a decade. They've been working with Al Khan a long time. They've been working with Jeremy Padower a long time. Like everyone who knows Pokemon are aligned with Ecomi and Veve somehow. So the likelihood that Pokemon would come out and do their own thing versus just license it to one or a few, where they could just collect and have to do the heavy lifting and allow these experts in NFT space to do so for them, seems more likely to me. And he says, is part of why people are invested in OMI and Veve because of Pokemon. I don't think Pokemon is the sole selling factor why someone goes into Ecomi and Veve. I do think it has a lot of weight to it, right? Like we know that they have Marvel, we know that they have Ecomi, we know that they have the biggest licensors and brands, more so than any other NFT project out there currently. But it is more kind of okay, we speculated back in March all the way till May or June that they had Marvel. And everyone was like, oh, this is just speculation. Like, there's no way. And then they had Marvel, right? And they were sitting on Marvel, or at least in the talks with them, for 18 months. So we've speculated on many things. And the likelihood that Pokemon would make this kind of partnership with people that they've been working with for years and years makes sense, especially one that probably approached them back in 2018 when NFTs were not hot, when most weren't doing something like this. And they had enough time to really build that relationship and say, if you give it to us, we'll make it come. We'll make it happen, right? So I think it is very possible. And that's why people have really attached kind of their mentality to OMI and Veve most likely have the Pokemon license. But we will see as more information comes. Let's see. And booster packs like blind boxes. I mean, yeah, I think going into what could happen with Pokemon, it just makes sense, right? Like actually having the blind boxes, opening up the cards. What makes me think too is they spoke about the fact that eventually we will have like some kind of opening where it isn't just you click a blind box and then you get your comic or you get your collectible. They did say eventually maybe we could make it animated, kind of like NBA Top Shot, or like you see with Cogs, actually with R Fox Labs. When you buy Cogs, you get a pack, and then you click that pack and it tears open the pack, and then they shoot out of the pack, and then you see which cogs you get. So I think that would make sense with like a trading card game on the Veve app. So that, and Trevor spoke about that. Like, it's not a priority immediately, but they would focus on some animation in the future. So I think this would be pretty cool. For those of you just tuning in, we don't have any confirmation, right? But this website does seem awfully similar to the normal ImmutableX website. We were able to confirm that all the links are pretty mirrored or pretty tied directly to ImmutableX. So this could be a big slip up that someone revealed, and we're not supposed to see this. But the fact that Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh are both in here, they're closely in line with Ecomi and Veve. It's on ImmutableX. I mean, there's a lot of things that just kind of stand out. And so let's do a little bit more digging and kind of see, is this legit, right? Laurie says, Veve, thanks for the super chat. Veve doesn't need Pokemon. Go is already a thing in AR, but upcoming play to earn game eluding is fresh in the future. I mean, does Veve need Pokemon to be successful? No, right? And Pokemon Go is completely different from the Pokemon game, completely different from Pokemon collecting, completely different from Pokemon trading card game. I mean, there's so many different ways that Pokemon can go. And I think if they incorporate the trading card game, think about how big our community is. Think about how, I mean, I have my Pokemon cards still. I would 100% buy Pokemon trading cards in Veve, and then we could play together. Like, that would be incredible. So yes, I would love to see the actual Pokemon collectibles come, but this would actually give some added gamification to the app. It would allow us to interact as a community. We would collect trading cards. I mean, I know Randy Chavez would be all over this. I mean, he's selling his Pokemon cards like crazy to be able to get into this. And the last piece, play to earn. I mean, yeah, Illuvium is amazing. I agree with you on that, Lori. But this seems pretty legit. Veve Vault says, I can play Magic the Gathering, but I don't know how to play Pokemon. So if you know how to play Magic the Gathering, man, like I go back to the days of playing Magic the Gathering too. I actually played, at a tournament not like 2.5, 3 years ago. If you know how to play Magic the Gathering, you know how to play Pokemon. Pokemon is way easier, and Yu-Gi-Oh is equally easy, if not even easier than Pokemon. So if you know how to play MTG, you can figure out Pokemon relatively easy. It's not super difficult. But again, this would be really, really cool to see. Hit up the team on Twitter. Oh man, I mean, so I actually, this is like the first video where I didn't really tag Ecomi and Veve on it, because everyone's going to be tagging them on this. They're going to be freaking out about this. If this was a slip up from Immutable, Veve's not going to confirm, right? Like, Immutable is not going to confirm this. They're going to let us kind of speculate and freak out, and then it'll kind of die down. But this looks pretty positive. Can this be manufactured? Yeah, right? Like, anything could be manufactured, but this just seems a little bit too perfect, right? Like, everything else that's been manufactured, we've been able to find loopholes. We've been able to link it back to fake things. And if this is real, man, NFT world's going to lose it. But this is also just more like, let's say this isn't real, right? This is pretty crazy to see this much being built out on ImmutableX. There's so much built up around it. I mean, man, like, this was, I think there was like 8 of these boxes back like 3 weeks ago. And Moody Crows, that was an NFT project that Kyle Wilson actually let me know about. I went and reached out to the creator of Moody Crows and confirmed that this is for sure the first generative PFP project on ImmutableX. They shot up. Like, they went from 0.035 ETH all the way to 1 ETH each in a short amount of time, because Alex Becker covered it. But I even let them know, like, hey, you want to let people know that this is the first generative PFP project once confirmed with ImmutableX. And they did, and it gained in value. So that's what's big, right? Like, if this is real, if this is the first Pokemon NFT project, and if it comes through Veve, that is a world's first, and it is great awareness for ImmutableX. And we've all said this a million times, but a rising tide lifts all ships, right? So anything that's good for ImmutableX is good for Veve and Tom Bilyeu and Guild of Guardians and Illuvium and every other project that's built out on this ecosystem, because we're going to see Matic eventually start to compete with Ethereum, right? We're going to see Engine start to compete with Ethereum-based things, and having ImmutableX build out its own incredible ecosystem. I mean, it's very early in its onset, and so is Veve and Ecomi. So I think seeing this all kind of come together this early is pretty cool. And man, if this was a slip up from ImmutableX, that person is going to be doing some PR nightmare right now. Oh man. Thank you for the super sticker. There's an IMX dev named Ipex Turgle prob just test. Ipex Turgle. IMX dev. ImmutableX dev. I don't know if you're messing with me or not, but is the idea around it that, because I think what IPEC test, maybe you meant IPEC, not. Not sure, but thanks for the super chat. Thanks for the super sticker, All Chat Gaming. Man, everyone's getting crazy in here, right? So yeah, what happens? Dan Schauble says, whatever happens, Immutable as a larger ecosystem is the place to be. I agree, man. Like when Immutable was announced, everyone was kind of like, WTF, right? Like they're like, why not Matic? Like why not some other solution? And for those of us who were familiar playing Gods Unchained and just what is happening with ImmutableX, we saw kind of like that light in the tunnel, and we're like, this is a big deal. Like this is awesome. Because if they didn't go this solution, they would have to go with like Solana or Matic or some other or Cardano, some other solution that would make it so it's extremely cheap for us to mint and use all these. But with ImmutableX, it allows us to actually batch send and really gives us a ton more value for what it costs to mint these, and again, not pay a ton of gas. So I think this is going to be really big. I imagine everyone's going to be losing their mind in Twitter. Let's actually go to the Twitter and see what's happening. Uh-oh. Ecomi just posted ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF. Bito on the NYSE was changing hands. I actually looked at it today. So I think it's inevitable that Bitcoin's going to be breaking all-time highs, especially since the ETF went public today on all trading platforms. I was actually looking at it in Robinhood today. It did take initial dip. I personally am not going to be investing in the ETF myself, only because I already have so much money in crypto that I would rather just invest in the crypto direct. But this is great for a lot of people who don't directly invest in crypto and want to get a piece of it. When all of my friends were like, all right, well, like, I'm not ready to go into crypto, but how can I make money in crypto? I was letting them know, like, well, if you really want to, you could invest in Mara or in Riot or in Hut 8 mining, basically the mining devices, and all of them shot off. And I actually held some Hut 8 as well as Mara, made a lot of money in my stock portfolio by holding those. So this is another way for people who don't want to invest directly in crypto, but want to make money in crypto, but through basically like the financial way, they can do so, and in like the stock market. So I think that's pretty big news, but we don't see any big news from Ecomi talking about what's happening on this side with the. Let's see if anyone responded to my my post about this video, because I'm curious what people think. Someone just trolling me right here. But yeah, wanted to hop on real quick. Any other thoughts before I hop out? And guys, I was shooting an entire video, just finished when all this came out, and I was like, okay, this actually seems pretty pretty big. And man, I mean, it was the Pokemon article that I showed in that video from NFT Culture. They even said it themselves that when Pokemon NFTs come, it's game over, right? Pokemon NFTs are likely closer than you think. This came out back in March. They kind of go into all of the reasons why Pokemon NFTs make sense, and the built-in NFT rarity, Pokemon card games make sense. I love that they reference the Black Lotus. Shout out to the people who play Magic the Gathering. But they said the biggest challenges are, of course, supply and demand. And Ethereum 2.0 promises to fix all of the issues with scalability, but the ETH gas prices are insane. Insert ImmutableX. ImmutableX is perfect solution for Nintendo, for Pokemon. And again, it just makes added sense to go through Veve and Ecomi versus having to build this all out themselves. Especially if this is just the trading guard side, it's something that could stack. If they made a multi-year deal with Marvel, what happens if they make a multi-year deal with Pokemon, right? Like if they have licensing to the Pokemon card games, and then they have another side that's tied to the Pokemon collectibles, and then what happens if they add an added layer, maybe in 2022, where you could actually evolve the Pokemon, right? Like we've seen that they can flip a switch and animate them. We've seen that they have them interactable, right? Where you could have a Ghost Trap catch a Slimer. So we know that they can become animated and have functionality. But what happens if they just give us little pieces as the months, the years come out, right? They know we're going to lose it when this happens, right? So if Pokemon card game is the first step, great, we're excited. We use it, we build it up. And then 2022 with Veveverse coming, what happens if they then go, all right, we're now going to do Pokemon collectibles on Veve. All right, here you go. And then what happens if a month, 2, 3 years later, oh, Pikachu's turned on. Pikachu can now shock, and you can use them in the Veveverse, and you can have them as your avatar, things like that. Like that would be incredible. And then as more time goes on, like they're always stacking up catalysts and things that are going to keep the platform growing and scaling, right? So what happens then after 6 months, 9 months later in 2022, they go, oh, if you choose to turn in X amount of points from Master Collector Program, or if you choose to spend X amount of OMI, you could buy a Thunderstone, and then you could then turn your Pikachu into a Raichu, right? So what happens if they only come out with the first version of a Pokemon as a collectible, and the only way to get the next evolution would be to buy a stone or create some kind of evolution, right? Like that would be really cool. And in fact, evolving NFTs is already a thing. The first one to do so were whelps. And so let me see if I'll pull up whelps. And that's actually why I bought some whelps. They are way down in terms of value, because I personally think the team is not marketing it well. They're the first they're the first NFTs to actually evolve on the blockchain. And they moved them from Ethereum to Matic actually just recently. And so basically what happened is you bought an egg, and then they hatched into a baby, and then they hatched into a whelp, young adult, and then you can now have them, I guess they are generative now, you can now have them go for a highborn egg. So this just happened 3 months ago. And so they were the first generative NFT project, again, initially on Ethereum. So the ability to actually create evolving NFTs is already a thing. And as of, 2-3 months ago. So it's possible that eventually, if this were to happen, if Pokemon were to come to Ecomi and Veve, that we could see evolving NFTs, evolving Pokemon eventually come to Ecomi and Veve. I'm excited, guys. This is pretty amazing. I really hope it's true. Thanks again, All Chat Gaming, for the super chat. I agree, no gas fees is incredible. Just catching up on these. Dan Schauble says ETFs are more for institutions, people who don't have crypto experiences, steep learning curve, but want a piece of the action. Not the TapsTrades audience. I mean, I'm a stock trader too, man. Like, that's actually how I started investing only 4 years ago, and was able to kind of turn around my financial life. and really started diving 100% into the financial world. And when people want to get into investing, and of course, I don't give financial advice, if they just want to hold like, oh, I know I want to get into green energy, or I want to get into, you know, manufacturing, or some kind of stocks, but they don't really know what company they want to attach to and want to just have a blanket amount. I always tell them, like, why don't you look at ETFs, right? Like space, is going to be a big market, but a lot of people don't want to throw all of their stock into Virgin Galactic or into Rocket Labs, but they can go ahead and look at ETFs like UFO ETF, which has a big encompass of a collection of stocks. And the Bitcoin ETF, I think, is a great way for people, like Dan said, to get into crypto without having to get into crypto, right? Like, you don't have to store it in a wallet, but you can have a Robinhood, you can have a Webull, and get into what's going to happen with Bitcoin through that ETF. Y'all are crushing the comments. The Daily Circus says, I think a lot of people are hyper focused on Pokemon and will miss the actual big thing. Not sure what the big thing is, but remember to zoom out and see the bigger picture every once in a while. So, I mean, Veve's been crushing it, right? Like, Marvel has been a big license. Anything they come out with, like, they could come out with, when we joke, right? Like houseplants. Like, the accessory will be a houseplant, and we'll be excited, right? Like, oh, we got houseplants, we got a bonsai. Like, it really, at this point, like, they keep putting out more and more content. And I can't remember if it was my interview with Reese or someone else's interview with Reese, but he said, like, what do you think, or what makes you think that Marvel is our best or is our biggest license? And that has kind of been my mentality the whole time, is like, Marvel is probably not the biggest licensor that they have, or the biggest brand that they're going to have on the app, right? Why would you lead with your best? It's going to be probably the biggest effect for 2021, unless we see again this, hopefully, Pokemon trading card game. That would be incredible. Like, if that was how they ended the year, or if that was their Christmas present to us or something like that, I don't even know. I mean, it might not even be that far. If this is real, if it's in test right now, that would be absolutely exciting. Gus, Taps, take a look into their Discord. You will find more information about the UAT environment. Gus, when you say their Discord, do you mean ImmutableX's Discord, or I mean, yeah, it's probably not. I don't think there's a Pokemon trading card game Discord, but if that is let's see if we can actually go to ImmutableX's Discord. That's actually not a Discord I'm in. Immutable Discord. See, this is why I wanted you guys on here, so that way we could kind of do some research together. I'll just look around for now. Developer updates. Shills giveaways. I think this is a great place to start, though, right? Like, if we can actually reach, I mean, that's the hard part, right? Is like, we can post something in the Discord and be like, hey, is this real? They're not going to say this is real, right? Like, but I mean, they could possibly say this is false, which is, I guess, probably the greater idea, right? So, again, for those who are just jumping in, we can't confirm this is 100% real, this site, but I will be doing more homework to see if this is possible, or if this is actually authentic or not. I highly recommend anyone else who wants to do so. If you have background in being able to confirm some of the stuff, here again is the link in the chat. We would love your help, because if this is real, man, oh man, I don't even know what to say. I'm that flabbergasted by this news, in that I really was like, this is probably fake. Like, I went into it with a negative mentality, thinking this is not real. And then when I looked at these sites, looking into the UAT side, and seeing that everything, for the most part, is the same. That's the piece that really jumps out to me, right? Like, it just seems a little bit too good. If someone created this, they deserve this video because they got us good. But I don't know. This, like, I'm not usually one to believe, information right off the go, but this looks really good. So shout out to Invest More. I appreciate the super chat. What, if any, fees will there be to do transfers and make purchases? It's pretty low, man. So when I bought, I don't have a ton of collectibles, I don't think, on ImmutableX yet. Yeah, so I currently only have 3 Gilded Guardians heroes and 2 Moody Crows. With the Gilded Guardians, I mean, you deposit the ImmutableX, there's an initial fee, and you deposit the Ethereum into the ImmutableX marketplace. There's an initial fee, and it was, I want to say, like $20, like $30, but I can do whatever I want with these now in ImmutableX, right? So I can sell these, I can buy these. I don't believe there's any other additional fees. If I want to take them out of ImmutableX and onto OpenSea, I believe that there is a fee, but I'm not familiar enough with it yet to do so. But again, it is very, very cost effective. And this is the piece, because of that 1155, ERC 1155, you would be able to batch sell, right? So when you look at marketplace, let's go to Moody Crows. I know I've been able to list for sale. I've seen before where you can actually list it as like a bundle, or maybe that's an OpenSea actually, but it's going to have some kind of tie directly with this. So we'll figure it out once it comes. But ImmutableX is going to save us a lot in gas once we actually have our collectibles in here. And it's exciting too, because we're seeing Coinbase step up to compete with with OpenSea. We're seeing ImmutableX building out their own monstrosity, which is going to compete with both, right? And then there's going to be some kind of integrations with them, I'm sure, because they don't want to fully compete. They all want to, build out their own thing, but there has to be kind of nice playing field. So I'm really excited for this. This again was a very unexpected video to come in, and apologies for if this is a little bit moon boyish or a little bit excited and not as collected as most of my videos. But I wanted to at least get on here and get the fam together and see, is this real? Like, everyone do your homework and see, I start pondering, like, what happens if this is real? What would make sense for timeline for Veve to reveal this, or ImmutableX to reveal this, right? And if it isn't Veve or Ecomi, who are the ones to have this Pokemon trading card game, it's still great awareness for Veve, right? So if Pokemon trading card game comes to ImmutableX in its own form, or on maybe, let's say, some other project, then it'll attract a lot of attention to ImmutableX, which then will be beneficial for all the other projects that are in here, right? Which soon Veve Collectibles will be in ImmutableX. So I think either way, if this is real, this is going to shape out to be bullish for Veve and Ecomi. Oh man, I really hope this is real, guys. I haven't presented something that I thought was speculatively real since, I think, March. Like, right, like, where it was someone trolling us with fake information. And it's because I can't remember what the video was. I remember, like, I presented it. I think Kyle Wilson presented it. I think Cavell presented, like, a bunch of people presented it, and then it ended up not being real. I think it was someone using Blender to show that they were like that soon. I think it was Marvel. I think it was. They were showing Blender with Marvel NFTs and Deadpool and all that, and we were like, oh, like, this looks real, like, this is exciting. And then it turned out to just be Blender and them trolling us. But this is another level, right? Like, eventually we kind of wrote that off, and I haven't presented anything like overly speculatively like this until now, because again, before I hopped on here, I did a little bit of my own research, and I think this is pretty strong. If someone built this, again, you deserve this video, man. let's look at the comments before we hop off. What did Drew say? Laugh aloud, Drew. Wow. Uh-oh. What did he say? I can't see it. Taps has the same amount of tabs open than I have OMI. This is how I research, man. Like this is how I do it, right? Like there's a method to my madness. Like this is actually what I used to do at my previous job. I have different things open for different reasons, and when everything shuts down or like my computer auto restarts, I restore the tabs because I don't want to lose my place in my research. So when you guys think about, I only do one video every couple days or so. I'm doing a ton of research to really try and find, is this legitimate? Can I present this to the fam? Make sure it makes sense. Does it make sense to me? Because if it doesn't make sense to me, then I'm not going to present it to you guys. So that's why I have so many tabs. And yeah, I mean, there's a method to the madness, and this definitely upsets a lot of people who can only have like one or two tabs open at a time. All right, everyone, that was the quick stream I wanted to hop on. I highly recommend you do your own research. This is not confirmed that Ecomi and Veve have the Pokemon license or that Pokemon trading card game is coming for sure to ImmutableX. But again, look at this website, do your own research. The likelihood that Pokemon could have some kind of partnership with ImmutableX, I would say is pretty high. The likelihood that they have some kind of partnership with Ecomi and Veve, I would say is pretty high as well, but we don't know when we'll see it. And again, in this video that I did back on August 23rd, I specifically said in this video that most likely, if Pokemon were to come, it would be coming in a trading card game to Veve before the actual Pokemon NFTs, because before Pokemon NFTs hit, that would shoot up our user growth to insane amounts. So I think it makes sense to ease into, again, this trading card, NFTs in Veve, and then maybe like a mini game where we could actually play together, right? And then go into the Pokemon collectibles and maybe the digital toys, right, where they can evolve and all that. So I think, and if you want to see that video to reference, then look back to August 23rd. Where was the video? This guy right here. So 1 month ago, it's longer than a month ago, I kind of showed that I believe that Pokemon trading cards NFTs will be the first ones to hit. So if I'm right, that'd be an awesome call. I'd be pretty excited, but let's see what happened, guys. I really think, again, we're very early. I just got done shooting another video about the OMI token. So I'm going to be editing this after this and now posting it tomorrow morning because this took up a lot of my time. And going into what is going to happen with the OMI token, what are some of the biggest catalysts to look forward to. As always, please make sure that you hit that like button. Hey, thanks, Rip Curls. Everyone smash that like button. I appreciate you, man. Make sure you hit that like button. Let the OMI and Veve community kind of come into this. Like, let's all put our heads together and research and see, is this real? If this is not real, let's research that too, right? Like, let's disprove if this is some kind of really intricate fake site. If it's not, I think ImmutableX is going to have a whole lot of PR spinning to do to have this kind of go under the rug. But yeah, take a look, and everyone make sure that you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I will be coming with a new video tomorrow morning on the OMI token. I think you're going to like some of the research I put into it. And everyone, let's keep our eyes peeled, because if Pokemon's coming to Veve, no one can touch us. No NFT project. I won't be able to keep up with what would happen if Pokemon hits Veve, even in trading card game first. So bullish on Immutable, bullish on OMI, bullish on Veve, and I hope to one day collect them all. All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.